Hey Mowgli, we're in the Gulf of Mexico.
I know! The clock's ticking down on me. I never see a sunset like this before. Watch the lights fading out upon the cliffs of the shore. I never been this far from home. Now I'm stuck in the past. Is it too hard to see that? Is it too hard to see that? We never should have come home. We never should have come home. We never should have come home. 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 Is that so hard for you? For once to see us through. I know we can do better than this. Is that so hard for you? For once to see us through. I know we can do better than this. Is that so hard for you? For once to see this through. To see this through.
It was the last day of the journey, and we loaded the canoe for the very last time. The place we camped last night was nothing glamorous. It was a rough clearing near the US 90 bridge. A local in his fishing boat motored over and saw our heap of junk in the canoe and said, "Oh, y'all roughing it." He asked how far we were going. I told him a couple more miles, and we were done. He nodded and motored away because I had made it sound like we just came out to paddle on a lovely Saturday morning, that there was nothing too special about today or what we were doing, and he accepted that. The question he did not ask was how far we had come, but that tends to be the way most people's thinking is slanted, myself included. They want to know about what kind of fuel you're going to put on the fire and how much longer you're going to let it burn, more so than how much you've already burned in it or how long the fire's been going. It's more about what you're doing than what you've done, and more about where you're going than where you've been. And we were only going a few more miles, so that's what I told him. The end of a journey this size is exciting and troubling. It's exciting because it's complete, and it's troubling because it's finished. All the fun is over. The part of me that wondered if I could ever do this, paddle the Mississippi River to the Atchafalaya to the Gulf of Mexico, is excited because the journey is complete. All my doubts are vindicated. And then the part of me that knows this is one of the most physically demanding things I've ever participated in is troubled because all the growth is over, and all the fun with it, and all the suffering too. Thankfully, I failed before and learned some perspective from it. That if I always look towards the finish line, if I spend the entire journey thinking about the end of it, then when I get there, it will be hollow. It will be an idol with nothing on the inside, and will let me down. To travel this way, always thinking about the end of the journey, is to put one's body in a beautiful environment, an interesting place, and then to put their mind thousands of miles ahead of them. And thankfully, I've made this mistake before, and suffered the disappointment of coming to the end of a journey and finding out that the final step is not much different than all the others that led up to it, and there's really no reason to build it up to be a hollow idol. So, Mowgli and I treated our 6th day on the Atchafalaya River and our final day traveling by canoe just like we did all the days that led up to this place, by eating cold food straight out of a can, sweating like a pig, and getting eaten by insects. But at least we missed our turn for the cutoff and got lost in a bayou. The misstep added some symmetry to the trip. We started this journey by getting lost in northern Minnesota wetlands, which are more like a labyrinth than they are a channel. And here we were on the last day, getting lost in the Atchafalaya River Basin, which has more bayous than fireworks have sparks. And for once, it was only 80% my fault. Mowgli knows that I mostly look at maps for their value in the world of interior decorating and design, which is to say they're nice to look at, but every time I read one and tell him what I just read, he looks at me with a wary eye. I told him we needed to turn west into Hog Bayou if we wanted to get to the Gulf of Mexico, but he said there was an inlet further down, and we paddled that way. The vegetation had since consumed the inlet, and we had to paddle upriver to find the entrance to Hog Bayou, which I had first pointed out. So this was 100% Mowgli's fault for not listening to me, but 80% my fault for having an all rivers lead to the ocean, like all roads lead to Rome attitude about navigation, and mostly just following the flow instead of looking at the charts. But thankfully, I admitted he was wrong and we moved on. The narrower waters of the Atchafalaya River, Hog Bayou, and the bayous leading to the Gulf of Mexico also lended some symmetry to the trip. To paddle in those narrow waters was to constantly be turning, to always be changing directions as the channel does, because the channel runs in the furthest thing from a straight line. The chaotic course of the water required our full attention, and that wasn't hard to give. The place is beautiful. It's colorful and imposing, full of life, and paddling through it is like exploring a wet jungle. Both Mowgli and I were left thinking here, just like we did in the north, that more people should come out and explore this place so they could see that it's worth protecting. I would carry on about how beautiful the willows were and how tall the grass and how large the lily pads and clear the water near the plants, but we found something much more interesting than that. It was the hindquarters and long scaly tail of a nutria rat sticking above the swamp water and bobbing up and down like it was dancing and still alive. Mowgli pulled its tail to get the rat above the water and found himself in a tug-of-war with an alligator that was trying to get the rat under the water.
Bro, grab.
The alligator won, but Mowgli had been holding onto the rat's tail so tightly that the skin of its tail remained in his hand while the gator pulled the rat away.
Oh, Gator's got him. Fucking Gator has him. Oh my God almighty, man. Woo! Oh my God, dude.
Let's go get that gator.
Dude, the skin of his tail came off in my hand.
Yes, this was an adventure right up until the end. Minutes after Mowgli skinned the tail off of that alligator's supper, we paddled into the wide, still, and shallow waters of the outlet, which pushed the muddy water from the swamp into the Atchafalaya Bay, where it would mix with salt water, and then beyond to the Gulf of Mexico. We had made it. There was no more south to go to. There was no more current to follow, or no more destination to which we could look forward. Mowgli opened his chest pocket and tore the cover off of the 2 cigars he had been keeping there, each puff tasting like the best tobacco 49.5 cents could buy. I told Mowgli early on that I wanted to learn every day on this trip, and every day of my life, really. And he teased me about it when we were in the upper Mississippi River, saying that if I got any closer to the dams, I would learn what it was like to get sucked through them right before I died. So I might die on the Mississippi River, but at least I would be learning right up until that point. Mowgli learned today that the jaws of an alligator are stronger than the tail skin of a rat, and I learned that the Gulf of Mexico is not as smooth and as flat as it looks. We actually took on a lot of water as we were paddling back for the shore after we celebrated out in the salt water, but we made it. We did what we set out to do, to paddle from Lake Itasca to the Gulf of Mexico, along the Mississippi and Atchafalaya rivers, and for that, I'm grateful.
I plucked a feather from my tail. Right, you ain't little babe, but I can't find the well. Ain't got no parchment or pen. Feel like a rooster, baby, without a hen. Well, now, road running, running down that road again. Road running.
coyote in sight. But I'm howling at the moon, yeah, and I can't sleep at night. But my little darling, can't you see? Your whisper's louder than the highway's calling me. Well now, road runner, running down that road again. Road runner, honey, catch me if you can.
Gig ain't too bad. Begging through the seeds at the bottom of the bag. Old Sully Levine's on the way, laying down white lines and I can't turn away.
Road runner, running down that road again. Road runner, honey, catch me if you can. Well, I'm a road